FM Talk 106.5, the Gulf Coast Weather Authority. The safety is off. There's a round in the chamber. This is Armed Alabama. Sponsored by McCoy Outdoor Company, Mobile's hometown full-line outdoor sporting products and gear store. An interactive talk show discussing self-defense, product reviews, shooting tips, safety, and more. Your calls, comments, and texts welcome at 343-0106. Now, here are your hosts, retired judge and certified NRA instructor Rusty Johnston and certified NRA law enforcement instructor Adam Strange.
They're gonna pry these guns right out of my hands when they come to take them away. I believe in the rights that my fathers gave me when he signed the Constitution that day. No misguided president or crooked politician with a greasy pocket be spared. When the hard-working man gets tired of your cry, it's gonna rain rats, beware. Don't tread on me, I'm American free. You're not gonna take it away. I stand up and fight for my freedoms and rights. That's the price you'll have to pay. Don't tread on me, I'm American free. Red-blooded to the core. You ain't ever had a fight in your life like the fight that you're your champ for.
Welcome to Armed Alabama. Glad you could join us tonight for a 2-hour program about self-defense, firearm and ammo selection, home protection, concealed carry, training, range etiquette, and much, much more, including Alabama, Mississippi, and Florida law. And I have with me tonight Judge Rusty Johnson, and I'm so glad you can join us.
Hello there.
Also in the studio with us tonight is Tanner Robinson. Tanner is a hunter, an avid hunter. He has his own website, and that website is RoboOutdoors.com. That right?
Yes, sir. That's right.
Robo Outdoors, and we also have with us Wesley Parks from McCoy Outdoors is joining us, and we're going to have our show is going to be centered around hunting tonight. So deer hunting mostly, but and that's what we're going to discuss since we're
But non-hunters, feel free to call in with a non-hunting question too.
So now that hunting season coming in full effect and full swing, that'll be a good topic for tonight, and we've got some really good guests here to be able to shed a lot of information regarding that, and we're glad that they can join us. If you'd like to call into the studio, you can call us at 251-343-0106. You can call or text either way. We'll be glad to have you call in and text. Be sure and check us out on Facebook, Armed Alabama Radio, FM Talk 106.5, and we'll be broadcasting live on Facebook. So be sure and check us out on our Facebook page. We're broadcasting on Facebook Live there. That's Armed Alabama Radio, FM Talk 106.5. Also, we have a Twitter page, Armed Alabama 106.5, and we have our website. It's armedalabama.com. You can go to our website and listen to all of our previous shows at any time at your convenience. And you can download them, listen to them on podcasts at your leisure. We also have a YouTube channel that the judge does a very good job keeping up to date, puts a lot of video content on there, and you can even go and watch our previous shows on our YouTube channel, and that's Armed Alabama. If you remember from last week, we were talking about we have a class scheduled this past weekend, and that was concealed carry home defense class, or level 1, and that was at Three Brothers Arms this past Saturday. We had a really good time. We had some really, really good students. Three Brothers Arms really rolled out the red carpet for us. We really had a good time.
They sure did. Lunch and everything.
Yep. Always enjoy going there and shooting at Three Brothers. And as the judge said, they provided lunch for us. Had some deep fried corn on the cob. I had never had that before.
Me neither.
And that was really, really good. So we want to thank Paul and Brad and everybody there at Three Brothers Arms for their hospitality. So if you're interested in one of our next classes coming up, hopefully we'll have that scheduled soon. We'll have a class in December. If you're interested in that class, be sure and email us Adam at armedalabama.com or the judge at armedalabama.com, and we'll be sure to get you on that list for our next concealed carry and home defense level 1 class, and that will be hosted at Three Brothers Arms. And again, we thank them for their hospitality this past weekend. We had a really, really good class. And we'd like to take this opportunity and thank our advertisers and sponsors. Without our advertisers and sponsors, we wouldn't be on the radio. And we appreciate every one of them. And those are David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota, Dr. Justin Foster at Foster Chiropractic of Tillman's Corner, David Grayson of Grayson Heating and Air, McCoy Outdoors, of course, and the law office of Matt Green. We'd like to thank each one of those advertisers and sponsors for their support of the show. If you would like to advertise your business on Armed Alabama, or would you like to contribute to the show, then you can call or contact the station, or you can email myself, Adam at armedalabama.com, or the judge at armedalabama.com. We'll be glad to add you to our list of proud sponsors. Judge, you got anything special for us tonight?
Well, just watching the largely peaceful protest occurring in our streets out there. And one factoid I want to give the audience, because I'm sure some of them have irritated by it, as I am. We've got these people that say, well, Trump didn't get the majority of votes. Every parliamentary system in the world, which encompasses most of the world's free countries, England, United Kingdom, of course, Australia, Canada, every one of those countries, they don't have direct elections of their chief executive. You vote for your party that elects the member of parliament, and then the members of parliament, whoever has the most members of parliament, elects the prime minister. And 4 times in the United Kingdom during the last century, the 1900s, the party that accumulated the most popular votes did not have enough votes in Parliament to elect the Prime Minister. That's called an election inversion. It happens all the time. And, of course, it's the way our country is set up, but it's not unusual at all. And I've noticed the countries that have direct elections of their chief executives tend to be the most despotic in the world. Zimbabwe, Zambia, Uzbekistan, I'll give you the whole list. So it's not something you really want to long after. They had a reason to set it up the way they did, and they were wise to do it. And one more thought is we saw the booing, well, more than booing. It was practically a riot when the vice president-elect went to see the play Hamilton. And my kind of thought is, I hate to be this blunt, anybody dumb enough to go see a play about the worst founding father maybe deserved what he gets. As John Adams says, Hamilton was the bastard son of a Scottish peddler. And about everything wrong with this country today that we all complain about it was pushed by Alexander Hamilton. He said the Constitution only gives the government the powers specifically enumerated. The first thing he did was convince Washington they had the power to start a national bank. So he was a liar, he was an adulterer, and the best thing ever happened was him getting in a duel with a better shot than he was Aaron Burr. So those are my opening comments.
And good they are, Judge.
Yeah.
As we stated earlier, we have with us in the studio tonight Tanner Robinson, and he has his own website, RoboOutdoors.com. Tanner Robinson is a 21-year-old avid hunter, and he has been hunting since he was 6 years old.
When I was young, I used to hate that. Somebody would broadcast your age. Unless you were 14 and somebody said you were 21. But you can do it. That shows how old you've gotten, Adam.
Yeah, I guess so. So glad you could join us tonight, Tanner. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And we also have in the studio with us, we have Wesley Parks from McCoy Outdoors.
How old are you, Wesley?
I wasn't going to ask Wesley that.
Older than 21. Much older than 21. Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Great. And we'll be hearing from these two gentlemen right after the break. And when we talk about our specialized hunting show today, and we'll be talking about deer hunting, which Tanner has a great deal of experience on as far as hunting with a bow. I went and looked at some of your videos online. Really, really good. Did a good job editing those videos. So,
which that could be used if it's zombie apocalypse, bow hunting, crossbows.
Yeah, you can use that.
Not just deer hunting.
Yeah, you can use Tanner knowledge any which way you can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so we'll be hearing a lot about that after the break. And of course, we'll be hearing from Wesley as well, talking about McCoy services that they offer and products. And we'll have more on Armed Alabama after this break.
This program is a production of Armed Alabama, LLC. The comments and views of the hosts are those of Armed Alabama, LLC, for which it is solely responsible. The view and comments of the callers, guests, and texters do not necessarily represent the views of the sponsors or advertisers of Armed Alabama, LLC, or of Armed Alabama, LLC, Bigler Broadcasting, LLC, FM Talk 1065, or WAVH. No comments from Judge Rusty Johnston should be taken as legal advice, but as educational information. Judge Johnston is not engaged in the practice of law and should not be sought out to answer legal questions off the air. Seek legal advice from a qualified attorney who knows the complete specifics of your legal matter. Don't get caught in the dark when the lights go out. Grayson Air Conditioning installs Honeywell home standby generators to keep you out of the dark. Grayson Air Conditioning repairs most other generator brands and offers service agreements to keep your generator ready when power is lost. With this agreement, you won't have to leave home when a storm is coming. Like Grayson AC on Facebook, on the web at GraysonAirConditioning.com, or stop by their offices, 7200 Cottage Hill Road, next to Regions Bank, or call 633-5665 for service. Emulous Creative offers resourceful solutions for today's digital and social media-driven marketplace. We can guide you through the overwhelming world of advertising and help create the right message to reach your audience. Emulous Creative will help you promote your business the right way. Find us on Facebook or visit us online at emuluscreative.com. That's EMULOUS creative.com. Contact Emulous Creative, and together we can grow your business.
Step up to the firing line. Armed Alabama is back. Questions, comments, and texts at 343-0106.
I'm a friend of Sarah Connor. I was told that she's here. Could I see her, please?
No, can't see her. She's making a statement.
Where is she?
Look, it may take a while. You want to wait? There's a bench over there.
I'll be back.
It's not a tumor.
I'll be back.
It's not a tumor at all.
We didn't get the car crashing in through the police station.
Oh, yeah, we missed the last part of that clip.
Charlie cut us off. All right.
Cut out the good stuff. All right, it's Armed Alabama, and we're back. This is kind of our hunting episode, but if you have any other questions regarding concealed carry, home defense, or whatever, we're still here to answer those and talk about that as well. As I stated before, we went to the break. We have with us tonight Tanner Robinson. Tanner is a young hunter. Has been hunting since he was 6 years old. He has his own website called RoboOutdoors.com. Be sure and go and check that out. Check out Tanner's video that he has on there. Really good videos. You provide comments and stuff like that on it. And so real quick, we're kind of into the deer season, if you will, now, bow season. So I know that you're preparing to go and do that. Have you already went one time already? So
yes,
Tanner,
yes, sir, we have.
So Tanner is actually from Florida, just on the very western side of Florida. They're just over the Alabama line. So
the good part of Florida.
Yeah, that's right. The Trump side. So if you will, just give us a little rundown of bow hunting and what it is that you like about bow hunting.
Yes, sir. Well, one of the things for me about bow hunting is the experience, and more instead of being in a shooting house, 100, 200 yards, from the deer, you need kind of 30 yards, something right on top. And to me, it's just a whole different experience in general. One that gets my blood flowing more, I'll say that. But to me, as I said, it's just the experience. It's something about a little more challenging than shooting with a rifle. Most people I think would agree with that. And just the whole experience in general to me is better. But a couple of things I wanted to just talk about tonight. A couple ideas about how to pick out a bow, and different stuff about shooting mechanics, and then how to set up your stands for bow season.
So you would have to set up your stand for bow hunt is probably a lot different than setting up your stand for, say, a rifle hunt or a shotgun hunt. So you would have to have the animal much, much closer to make your shot, like you said, 25, 30 yards maximum. So what do you do different to set up your stand and your area, your hunting area for bow that you would do different than rifle?
Well, since bow season is, the beginning of the hunt season, it's a little bit more warmer. We don't, where we are, and most places in general, don't have a lot of big mature bucks moving at that point in the season. So what we like to do is we like to get down in the woods. We like to find acorn trees. We try to go to them since we don't have them come to us that much. So we like to find an acorn tree down there that's producing a lot of acorns. And we can get, like I said, about 20, 30 yards from there, set up some stands, either tree stands or ground blinds. We use both. I don't prefer one over the other. They both work well because in our woods where we hunt, it's a lot of planted pines that they'll cut down every so often. So our
no
section,
kidding, they're like everywhere.
Yeah, that would be similar anywhere. Yeah.
In our section right now, we don't have a lot of tall pine trees, so we have to use ground blinds mainly right now for us when we bow hunt. That's definitely, I prefer a smaller ground blind. There's all sorts of sizes and everything. You can go online and look and everything. I prefer the smaller ground blind, necessarily like the Mare Step doghouse blind. It's small, they're tight, they're kind of hard to pack two people in to film, but they're really easy to conceal and brush in.
It's a lot easier to brush them in.
Yes, sir. And that's just, it's got a big front window on the front. It doesn't obstruct shooting. Definitely that's one thing that we like to do for our early season hunts is get down there in the woods where we can find where those big mature bucks are moving and hanging around.
You could do like the peaceful Indians did before we arrived and just set the woods on fire and get them running towards you.
Yes, sir.
A little drive.
Right.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
Right now, yeah.
So it requires a lot of prep beforehand, to really get out there, see where the deer's moving, where they're moving, when they're moving, and y'all use game cameras and stuff to kind of track the deer's movements and that kind of stuff, right?
Absolutely, yes, sir. That's our best friend for scouting. I think any hunter, no matter where you are, no matter where you're hunting, I think that's should be your best friend is trail cameras. They can tell you where the deer are at, where they're moving, what's coming in, what's not. Because it's one of those things. If you set up a stand but don't know what's coming in and what's not coming in, you go hunt, you're wasting your time if nothing's coming in that spot. So that should be your best friend during the early season scouting is trail cameras, and all year for that fact too. We use them all year.
So Wesley, I'm sure y'all sell those, don't you? The all kind of cameras.
We do. Yeah, we sell a number. I'm trying to think. Browning. Oh golly, my brain just went dead. Covert cameras. And game cameras have come very, very much down in price over the last probably 5 or 6 years.
Oh, yeah,
it used to be that
it.
a 10 megapixel camera, when there was a 10 megapixel camera to begin with, they were two.
Camouflage, and it straps around a tree, or we
Right.
would put up a pole or whatever, and you'd have to really be looking for it to find it.
You do, and now there's a lot of them that are available that don't have any visible flash, and those are, if you're wanting to put one on a gate or whatever, you can do that, and whoever's coming by doesn't see a little red or white flash go off. So
And movement activated,
Yeah,
of course.
yeah.
So that's just a great development, the technology-wise, and I can see where it'd help in both cases.
right.
Yeah, and probably for you, Tanner, you could probably see, what kind of animals are moving in through that area.
That's kind of creepy,
and what kind
too,
of,
to see some of the
what kind of bucks you have. So, if you actually see a 6 point and then you see an 8 point, and then when you're actually hunting, you don't want to necessarily maybe harvest that 6 point when you know that 8 point is out there and is going to come in sooner or later. So those kind of things really help out.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
So give us real quick, tell us a little bit about your bow setup and what do you like?
Right now I shoot a PSE Bow Madness right now. I've shot it for about 4 years and absolutely love it. It's not their top of the line, but it's not their bottom line bows. It's kind of right there in the middle. Very affordable price, and when you're picking out a bow in general, I think that's the first thing you want to look at is price, probably. Obviously some people can afford more than what others can, and I would say that each brand, whether PSE, Matthews, Bayer, any of those like that, they all have their top of the line and their bottom line bows. A couple of things I like to look for, just from experience that I've learned, things like the brace height. I definitely one thing I didn't know, and as I learned, over the years of picking out bows, was that a shorter brace height means faster arrow speed. And anywhere is between, I think most bows in general come between 6 and 9 inches in their brace height. So like I said, on the lower end, the 6 would mean shooting a faster arrow.
How fast would the arrows that you generally use hunting, how fast would they move?
About 365 feet per second. Is that correct? Somewhere around.
That's fast.
Is that fast?
Most hunting setups at 70 pounds are now a little over 300 feet a second.
Wow.
3 to 315.
Still moving though.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Now you can the IBO for those, which is kind of the monitoring device, I guess, for establishing weights and speed and draw length and all that. They're shooting some bows at 360 feet a second, but that is so fast, and most hunting setups with even a 100-grain broadhead won't get to that speed. But 315 is very obtainable.
And draw weight also is something I think is people have a big disagreement over. Maybe, but some people like shooting 80 pounds. Some people like Ted Nugent, for example. I think he shoots a 50-pound Matthews, and look at how many deer he kills. So I mean, it's all about shot placement.
Right. Some people love recoil.
Some people love recoil. Some people love recoil, and some people are all about the speed.
Right.
As you get older, you kind of come back full circle.
Yeah.
I like a lighter bow myself.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I shoot. I'm not a great shot, but I'm more comfortable. I can pull at an angle better shooting a 55-pound bow than I can a 65, and certainly a 70-pound bow. So, and it's my setup is about 275 feet a second at 55 pounds, and that's not fast, but it's fast enough.
You're not eating Advil when you get home.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
So in Wesley, you were talking about your bow setup. McCoy Outdoors you can go and buy a bow there. They can set them up, fit you for a bow, basically, to whatever you feel is comfortable, right?
That's right. We're a Bowtech dealer and also a Bear dealer, and we have a gentleman named Dietrich Traherne that is our Bowtech our bow technician, and we have another fella named Colton Miller that kind of backs him up, helps him and Dietrich's off on Thursdays, so Colton kind of has it himself on Thursdays. But we do, and we have a little short range upstairs where you can test a bow, you can sight in a bow, and we can chronograph a bow, and we actually have an apparatus that we can fine tune a bow, take the human element out of it. So, we can do all that. That's not my department, but
that's really good.
I know enough about it to tell you that we have all that.
It's like the people who swear that their handgun, is the sights, something's wrong with the sights.
Oh yeah.
And you take the human element out, and
that's right. Yeah. There's a lot of guns that shoot low left until you put it in a vise, and then they shoot where they're supposed to shoot. So.
Exactly. And a lot of that is a trigger pull, finger placement. It's just whatever. It's hard to actually tell unless you're actually.
That new gun, though.
Yeah. It's like, my gun's shooting left and low, and like, no, you might be, put a little bit too much finger on it, or you might be, slapping the trigger a little bit, or what have you. So, well, good. It's nice to have you guys in here to share your wealth of knowledge and information. And again, if you're just now tuning in, we have Tanner Robinson, who's a really young avid hunter who has his own website, robooutdoors.com, and we have Wesley Parks from McCoy Outdoors, and we'll have more from these guys when we get back after this break.
Step up to the firing line. Armed Alabama is back. Questions, comments, and texts at 343-0106.
see, in this world, there's two kinds of people, my friend. Those with loaded guns and those who dig. You dig. When?
Well, I guess I ain't no digger.
Yeah, Clint Eastwood, right?
Like that movie.
I was looking more at the plants we were talking about. They're our peaceful Indians know a plant, red buckeye, that is actually poison, a neurotoxin. They say the Indians used to smash it in bowls and pour it in ponds, and it would cause the fish to float up. Wouldn't kill them or poison them, and they scooped them up, kind of the 17th century equivalent of dynamiting a pond.
There you go.
So
whatever works.
Yeah. So sometimes they weren't quite as pastoral or peaceful as we think they are.
All right, well, this is Armed Alabama, and we're back. If you want to call in, you can call in and talk to our guest tonight, Tanner Robinson, RoboOutdoors.com, or you can talk to Wesley Parks from McCoy Outdoors. And you can call in at 251-343-0106. We'll be glad to have your call or text. And be sure and check us out. We're broadcasting on Facebook Live. And that is Armed Alabama Radio, FM Talk 106.5. And that's our Facebook page. And you can check us out on armedalabama.com. You can go listen to all of our previous shows. And we have pretty much all of them loaded, even last week.
If you play them backwards, it says go to McCoy Outdoors.
That's right. That's right.
Absolutely. So just before we went to the break, Tanner was talking about what kind of bow he likes or whatever. So there was a good exchange between Tanner, you, and Wesley about setting up for ground blinds. And if you just want to recap that real quick, Wesley, what you were saying to Tanner about using the foliage for whichever area that you're hunting in.
Well, what I was asking him is, with ground blinds, even the greatest camouflage ground blind seems to stand out in the middle of its natural surroundings. And there's a term called brushing in. And I was asking him about his tactics of brushing in. Hopefully, I was hoping to maybe learn a little something that I didn't know. Like myself, he hunts in predominantly young pine plantations, and I was asking him about how thorough he was brushing in his blind in pine plantation, and he said that he did, and he would try to conceal the blind as much as possible. And it sometimes requires a lot of effort, and usually when you're doing that, it's 85 degrees and the bugs might be out bad, but it certainly is worth it.
And Tanner, you have to do that well ahead of the actual season, right, to get the animals used to that blind being there and so forth and not spook them, correct?
Yes, sir, it is. We usually like to do it about a month ahead of time. We feel that's enough time to, they get used to stuff.
And that gives the rattlesnakes plenty of time to get situated inside your ground blind.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's where you wear them snake boots, huh?
That's right. Yes, sir.
They make it 10,000 degrees inside your, One time I didn't wear them at about that time of year, and I got off in a briar patch, and I remember my timber guy, my land management guy, saying, I never go in the woods without my snake chaps on, and I could just hear that over and over in my legs as I was getting cut up in my ears as I'm getting cut up by the briars, thinking, and then I finally see a rattlesnake, of course, and I thought, this is prophetic.
Yep. That's right. And, it's funny, people come in and ask if we have snake chaps, and yeah, we do, and they say, well, what about briars? Will they turn back briars? And I'm thinking, well, if they'll turn back a rattlesnake, I sure hope they'll turn back those briars, and they will, so. Yeah, it's not just for snakes. It's not just for snakes.
I've occasionally gone war on briars, and you just can't do anything about them. They're just tough.
Yes, sir.
Now, Tanner, you not only do you hunt with bow, but you also hunt with shotgun and rifle, or is it just rifle?
More rifle than shotgun, but I do a little bit of shotgun hunting. Yes, sir. And I mainly like to do that during the rut. If I can find like a trail that, I feel like there's a rub line on, that you can, most of the time you can generally tell if it's a smaller buck or a bigger buck.
So tell us and the listeners what a rub line is?
Well, during the pre-rut and the rut, mature bucks and even smaller bucks, they'll try to mark their territory, is what some people might want to say, and they'll take their horns and they'll rub. Most of the time they'll either rub like little smaller pine trees or cedar trees. We've seen them rub a lot of cedar trees before in the past.
Kind of like gang members putting up graffiti. They
Exactly like that. And they'll paw at the ground, and just kind of mark their territory. And that's one sign that that you can tell that you've got big, mature bucks, and like I said, even some smaller bucks will do it in your area. So
okay, kind of like the Bloods and the Crips. It depends on what kind of markers are.
You got to watch it.
Yes, sir.
Well, cool. And so, how do you set up your blind? You set up any different than you do a bow season, or you try to use the same one, or?
Well, in that, since it's kind of you're just out there kind of during the season looking for sign of stuff like that. If you can find one. What I've done in the past, and what I know a lot of people in my club as well doing also, that they'll just kind of sit up against a tree like turkey hunting, and just maybe about 15, 20 yards off that rub line, and because it's kind of hard to, during the middle of the season like that, you find a spot that they're using, like the rub line, it's kind of hard to go in there and mess it up by putting up a blind. So, we found more success with just going in and just sitting on the ground off the trail.
That's for using shotgun?
Yes, sir, for using shotgun. Yes, sir.
And then what kind of shotgun do you use?
I use a Mossberg 870 model.
Okay.
It's a pump action. Pump action or semi-auto, either one. I feel like you can probably cycle more shells faster with a auto. But it's just, the user's preference, either one. Yes, sir.
And so, Wesley, I'm sure you probably have a lot of hunters and individuals coming in to buy shotguns for the season. What do your buyers usually purchase? What are they looking for?
More and more people are wanting one shotgun to do everything with. Remington, Browning, Beretta, Benelli, Franchi, Mossberg, all the manufacturers are now making 3.5-inch chambered pumps and semi-automatics. With a pump gun, you're doing all the work. So the reliability issue is pretty much out the window. You're doing all the work. You're cycling the cartridges into the chamber, and you're extracting and ejecting the cartridges, the fired cartridges. So you're doing all the work. So there is no real reliability issue. Semi-automatics, however, are a different story. And Beretta, in my opinion, is doing a better job of making a 3.5-inch chambered gun that will cycle light loads compared to all the other manufacturers.
What is that? 1301, 1300?
The 1301 is a 3-inch chambered gun that they developed for tactical applications as well as for competitive 3-gun type scenarios. And I think a 1301 is a wonderful turkey gun. It's a very well-balanced, short-barreled gun. They make a 21-inch barrel and a 24-inch barrel that will accept screw-in choke tubes. The 18.5-inch barrel is fixed at cylinder bore. But the 21 and 24-inch are nice, compact turkey guns. I remember years ago we used to sell a lot of Benellis that were 21 and 24-inch for duck hunters, especially in the Mobile Bay area, Mobile Delta, where they were building boat blinds, and you have real tight, confined quarters that way. And so they didn't want to fool with a long barrel gun. And but that was then, and it seems like now most waterfowlers are wanting longer guns. But we sell more semi-automatics than we do the pump action guns for general purpose hunting, not for defense or not for tactical, but for general purpose hunting. We sell more semi-auto.
Well, it just shows again people have got to practice and know, hey, this gun doesn't cycle these shells very well, so I need to stay away from them. You can't just go out and grab a box and expect them to work.
That's right. And for waterfowlers that are shooting these magnum loads, whether they're 3-inch or 3.5-inch, they will kick the living stew out of you. And a semi-automatic will absorb some of that recoil, and a gas-operated semi-automatic will absorb the most.
As opposed to my Benelli M2.
That's correct.
Take your shoulder off in the process.
That's correct.
So it cycles fast.
So I fall in your group there, Wesley. I pretty much got one shotgun for everything. I do have, I would say, a tactical shotgun. I got a Mossberg 590, but Remington 1100 3-inch with a 30-inch ventilated rear barrel. I mean, that's like my go-to shotgun for pretty much anything.
Yeah, and
it is.
You're not alone there. I think Remington probably the 1100s, if you consider all gauges and all chamber lengths, I think they made approximately 3 million of those guns. So there's a lot of them out there.
Yeah.
And like myself, I think there's a lot of people that were first introduced to a semi-automatic with a Remington.
And I was. And so when I ran across this one, I definitely picked it up. But it's very soft shooting. I really like it. And, when it doesn't start functioning very well, you just replace the gas rings in it and you go right ahead and shoot some more.
That's right. And a little tip there, that gun's actually designed to be a dry action. So the worst thing you can do is oil the magazine tube.
Yeah.
You want to put a rust preventative coating, which is micro thin, but you don't want to lube it per se. So.
And Wesley, I put Limb Saver recoil pads on everything.
Yeah.
Compared to the 40 years ago recoil pads, these things are wonderful.
Right.
If somebody could just use one once.
That's right. No, they're a vast improvement over the old Pachmayr style pads. The new Pachmayr decelerators work really well and are more durable than a Limb Saver, but a Limb Saver actually absorbs a little bit more recoil.
Yeah, they really got folks. They'll say that 70% of the recoil is probably really felt recoil, more like a third. But I tell you, they make it a pleasure, not a pleasure to shoot a pump but it takes a lot of the recoil out.
That's right.
And they're slip on, and then the grind made. They're surprisingly, it's not that hard to do. Yeah, I've made a couple like that, and you got to do it a little at a time, not get frustrated. I do it with the belt sander and the WD-40 that method, and just do it and don't get frustrated. And when you're getting frustrated, stop.
Well, the great thing about a grind to fit is that it is attached to the firearm. It doesn't slip, it doesn't move, it doesn't shift. And our gunsmith, Doug Harbin, does that and does a good job of it.
That's even better.
Yeah, so a little pitch there, but we do. That's something we've been doing for 35 years.
That's even better.
Yeah, Wesley, I mean, a lot of people don't realize that McCoy Outdoors has a full gun service there, and you can bring anything that you need, especially now at hunting time. Hunting season's coming into swing. You can bring your firearm to your guys and fix whatever ails it.
It's probably better if you'd done it 2 months ago.
You can bring it in to be repaired, and right now he's been shooting for the last 5 days, sighting in rifles. So for those out there that haven't sighted their rifle in yet, he's doing that. So.
All right. Well, thank you, Wesley. We'll have more from Wesley Parks from McCoy Outdoors and Tanner Robinson of Robo Outdoors when we come back after this break. This is Armed Alabama.
Step up to the firing line. Armed Alabama is back. Questions, comments, and texts at 343-0106.
What we've got here is failure to communicate. Some men you just can't reach. So you get what we had here last week, which is the way he wants it. Well, he gets it. And I don't like it any more than you, man.
All right, welcome back to Armed Alabama.
If we ran our penitentiaries like that, we'd have a lot less crime, I'll tell you.
One of them Joe Arpaio.
Yes, that's right.
Bologna sandwiches and pink underwear.
Yeah.
All right, welcome back to Armed Alabama. We have in the studio with us tonight Tanner Robinson, who is an avid young hunter, and he has a website called RoboOutdoors.com.
And we'll have that on our show notes on our website.
And we also have with us from McCoy Outdoors, we have Wesley Parks joining us tonight. So,
and by the way, there were a lot of chemtrails out today, so just wanted to mention that. I know some of y'all keep up with that kind of thing.
All right, Tanner, just before we went to break, we were talking about shotguns, different types of shotguns that, that different individuals like to use. You stated you like your pump. So when you're loading up to go deer hunting, do you select different shells? Say like the first shell, maybe a buckshot with the second shell is slug or
dragon's breath.
Like that?
Just go ahead and barbecue him right there. I've got to find the film of me shooting the dragon's breath. It went over the pond and set the brush on fire on the other side.
Yes. Well, I'm kind of the opposite of what you just said. I prefer a slug first, then the buckshot after that. Just so if you it was running with the buckshot, you have a little more forgiveness of hitting him on the run.
Yeah, because you're swinging the firearm up, trying to make your hit or whatever.
Yes,
and
sir.
of course, probably with somebody like me, I'd get buck fever, and
I think that happens to everybody.
yeah, get
no matter.
blurred vision and sweaty palms and everything else like that. Just being shot that a deer popped out in front of me.
Yes, sir.
So Wesley, what do you like? What is your preferred firearm, and what is your preferred shotgun shell?
Well, I do a lot of everything. I do a little bit of deer hunting. I turkey hunt pretty hard. I used to shoot doves pretty regular.
Wesley must be married, so he doesn't
game as well.
quite do as much as he.
That's right. Yeah, I am married, happily so.
That's when my hunting ended.
Yeah, well, I've been very blessed. My wife is very forgiving and understanding of that. But
yeah, you better say that. She might be listening.
Well, and she might be, but it is true. I like to shoot semi-automatics for certain things like waterfowling, for duck hunting. Turkey hunting, I'm currently shooting an over and under. I shot a Remington 870 for years, pump action gun for many years, and but I went to an over and under. It's a little easier to carry in the woods, and that's kind of it on the shotgun side. And unlike Tanner here, I'm not much of a bow hunter. I bow hunt a little bit, but not much. But I have a couple different rifles, and depending on whether I'm in the woods, I'll take a little small compact rifle in a 7mm 08 caliber, and if I'm sitting on a green field or a clear cut, then I'll step up the game a little bit and go to either a 7 mag, which my son has pretty much taken from me, or a 280 Ackley Improved, which is very similar in performance to a 7mm M mag.
All right, Tanner, we talked about bow hunting tonight, and of course now we talk about shotguns. So as far as rifle, what rifles do you use or you prefer in particular round versus another? And then how do you set up your blind or your stand, or what do you set up? What is your setup when you go to do to harvest a game with a rifle?
Yes, sir. I shoot a Remington Model 710 270 with I use 150 grain bullets. That's been plenty for within 100 yards. It's got plenty of knockdown power, and even past 100 yards as well. I've just found that it's a caliber that doesn't kick that hard, so when you're sighting in your rifle, it's not it's, I guess, very forgiving, if you want to say that. You can shoot it for all day pretty much, and it doesn't necessarily bruise your shoulder too bad. When I'm setting up my stands for rifle season, I only really rifle hunt during the rut. So that's how I set my stands up, is to hunt the rut. I like to hunt either in the tall planted pines or in some hardwoods. I've found the most success with hanging tree stands and hunting out of that for the rut. When they're deer rutting, they're running everywhere. You never know. You can't set up a perfect spot for the deer to come out during the rut.
Mm-hmm.
So getting in a tree stand and using like a Caldwell Deadshot tree pod, you can. That's just like sitting in a shooting house, for stabilizing the rifle, accuracy, that type of deal. Found a lot of success there. Also, hunting the clear cuts near a food source. Maybe if you're sitting somewheres and there's on a clear cut and you got a food plot and maybe just 30 yards through the woods planted. Them does, if they're going towards the food plot to feed, they may have a buck chasing after them. Or if the buck is in the process of chasing the doe, that doe may skirt the food plot and never come out that you're sitting on. So when you're sitting on that clear cut, nothing obstructing your shot, you just kind of increases your odds of being able to shoot that deer. But if you don't have the opportunity to hunt a clear cut, if there aren't any on your club or your land wherever you hunt, just making sure you have a late season food source on a food plot. That's a key to have them does coming in, feeding, and especially since our rut is right at the end of the year in Florida and Alabama. having that food source there is key to have them does coming in. Now in Florida, we're lucky we get to hunt over feeders, so you might not necessarily have to worry about having a late season food source there. But in Alabama, where you currently can't hunt over feeders, they got to be a certain distance, from your stand or whatever. Having that food source for the deer to come in is key, because where the does are at, the bucks are going to be at. That's just that's the rut.
Yeah, it's ladies' night in front of the trail cameras, huh?
Absolutely.
We got a question on Facebook from somebody we know, but I won't mention his name. Gauge and/or caliber recommendations for pig hunting. I would recommend cluster bombing. It's probably the best thing to do with pigs, but I'll throw it over to the sportsman.
Airstrikes from your drones. Huh?
Yeah. If you're going to shoot a hog with a shotgun, I feel like you probably owe it to the animal to dispatch him as quick as possible. Right. And for that reason, I'm an advocate of 12-gauge guns. Rifles, any Sabot slug or buckshot. Okay. You don't want to use birdshot. You certainly don't want to use steel shot. There are some non-lead shot developed by Environmental, which is heavy shot, and they have a hog load, which I think is like a number. I think it's equivalent to a T or an F size shot. So it's not quite a buckshot, but because of the density of it, it's very, very potent, and you get a lot of shots per shell.
Yeah.
And then on rifles, I think any center fire cartridge that's at least like a 223, 22-250 with proper shot placement, they'll easily dispatch a hog. I have customers that shoot them with 22 Magnums all the time and 17 HMRs. Those are usually headshots.
So that means 308.
Yeah, well, I like my belt-fed M249.
That's
so
right.
I'll just use that with the depleted uranium casings on them. So yeah,
that phase plasma rifle
and that's
would
what I was going to
probably
say.
Do it too.
In a pinch, I'll use the phase plasma rifle in the 40-watt range. I haven't done what you've done.
60 would take.
I haven't got it upgraded to 60-watt yet. So,
nasty things.
Well, that's good. There's a lot of good information. Wesley, we mentioned earlier about the gunsmith services. You can buy your rifle at your store, the optics, and have your gunsmith laser sighted, mount the optics laser sighted or bore sighted, and they're ready to go, right?
Well, and the gunsmith, Doug, can actually take it and shoot the gun, actually sight the gun in shooting it. And we delivered a number of rifles like that today, as a matter of fact.
Double checking it, yeah.
Well, I mean, they're ready to hunt.
Right.
There's no guesswork there. So
yeah, and it really saves
bore sighting is pretty much an estimate. Usually, the collimator doesn't really take into account the center of the objective on the scope.
Well, good. And we'll have more.
FM Talk 106.5, the Gulf Coast Weather Authority. The safety is off. There's a round in the chamber. This is Armed Alabama. Sponsored by McCoy Outdoor Company, Mobile's hometown full-line outdoor sporting products and gear store. An interactive talk show discussing self-defense, product reviews, shooting tips, safety, and more. Your calls, comments, and texts welcome at 343-0106. Now, here are your hosts, retired judge and certified NRA instructor, Rusty Johnston, and certified NRA law enforcement instructor, Adam Strange.
They're gonna pry these guns right out of my hands when they come to take them away. I believe in the rights that my fathers gave me when he signed the Constitution that day. No misguided president or crooked politician with a greasy be fair. When the hard-working man gets tired of your cry, it's gonna rain rats, beware. Don't tread on me, I'm American free. You're not gonna take it away. I stand up to fight for my freedoms and rights. That's the price you'll have to pay. Don't tread on me, I'm American free. Red-blooded to the core. You ain't ever had a fight in your life like a fight that you're reaching for.
All right, welcome to the second hour of Armed Alabama. This is the last hour from 7 to 8, but we come on the air at 6. So now we're into our second hour. We always say that this is like a time warp zone here because time really doesn't have a meaning when we get here behind the
Einstein
mic.
wrote about this.
It just goes so fast.
Time compression as opposed to dilation.
Yeah, it goes very, very fast. So in tonight with the studio with me is Wesley Parks from McCoy Outdoors, which you know is an Armed Alabama key sponsor, and we're glad to have them aboard as our key sponsor. And we have with us in the studio as well Tanner Robinson. Tanner Robinson is a young avid hunter, and he has a website called Robo Outdoors where he records all his hunts and everything, and he posts those on his website. You can go there and you can view the different videos and a lot of good commentary and information with those videos. So we're glad to have Tanner Robinson with us tonight in the studio, as well as Wesley Parks with McCoy Outdoors.
And we also have Luther here, who is holding a woman hostage, but we use this in our concealed carry classes. And if you all can get a look, he has a gun. He has a gun holding it on an innocent person robbing a liquor store, if you can imagine that. And in our self-defense 2, the object is to shoot him without shooting her. And, of course, he's got his, appears to be a Glock right there. He's got it right up against her stomach. Sure, she's pregnant, so to add to it. But that's pretty challenging when you're moving and trying to get several shots off center mass to this creek right there.
That's right, Judge. And speaking of our class, we had a class this past weekend at Three Brothers Arms in Stapleton, Alabama. We really had a good class, great program, good bunch of students.
Great weather.
Yes, it was really nice weather. And Three Brothers Arms really rode out the red carpet for us. We had a good time. They even cooked for us, had lunch there for us and for the students. And it was really, really good food, including something I had never tried before, and that was deep fried corn on the cob, which absolutely
Never even
was
heard
amazing.
of it before.
All right, real quickly, we got a caller on the line. Brian is calling from Baldwin County. What you got, Brian?
I've got thanks for taking my call, first of all. I really love your show.
Thank you.
Couple of questions. First is a gun question, and if you don't mind taking 2 questions, and the other one is a hunt question. I've got a shotgun,
as they say,
and with a slug barrel, so I'll put a scope on it this year. But I hunt state land, so you can't do any target shooting. Where's a good place for me to sight that scope in?
Where are you?
Take a shotgun to the Pensacola indoor shooting range.
I wouldn't think you could do it. He's going to need to go to Styx River, I would think would be easiest for you.
Oh, Styx River. There you go.
Yeah, you
Styx
live in
River.
Baldwin County.
Yeah, and if you're in Baldwin County, it's easy to go to Three Brothers as well. It's just right up 59 in Stapleton, and they've got a nice facility there, and you can shoot your shotgun with your scope on it. You can get those ranges.
Whoever you're closest to.
Yeah, they have their ranges out to 300 yards there. So,
Okay.
yeah,
Well,
I think
what do you think is a safe, good, clean kill range for a Sabo slug?
You need to shoot your shotgun to determine that. It could be 50 yards. It might be 70 or 80 yards. But until you shoot that gun, you don't know that answer.
It's certainly no more than 100.
Well, my hunting question is, being that the rut really doesn't come in till late December, January, what can I do to bring a buck to me? I'm up in a tree stand this early and not even pre-rut yet.
Tanner, you want to take that one?
Legally, he's talking about.
Yeah, legally.
Yes, sir. Well,
that doesn't mean somebody holding a flashlight for him.
No. I mean legally. I mean, it's really not worth rattling because it's not even pre-rut yet. I tried some fawn bleach and didn't have any success. Couldn't even pull a doe in, actually. But I was thinking maybe a buck would maybe wander in with the doe or something.
So
what are your thoughts on that?
So you're asking how to kill one now, not during the rut. Is that correct?
How to kind of lure one where he is up in the stand, which is why I got bored with deer hunting pretty quick.
Well, right now, since they're not really
before the rut, how can I bring a buck to me?
before the rut.
Before the rut. Well, since it's not necessarily the pre-rut stages right now, rattling and calling and all that kind of stuff is not necessarily going to work. Yep. All right. So like I was saying, since it's not the rut right now, all the calling and the rattling stuff, is not necessarily going to work.
And listen on the radio, because I guess I've lost you.
Okay, listen on the radio. Just give him a second to crank it up.
Go ahead, Tanner.
All right. Well, since it's not the rut right now, calling, rattling, doe bleats, all that kind of stuff is not necessarily going to work, as you've said that you've found. And it's kind of hard right now to call that buck into you, because he's, in his spot, he's not doing much traveling right now since it's been so warm. It's just now really starting to get cold. He said he's not doing a lot of moving. One thing also that on top of, finding like spots like I mentioned earlier, like the acorn trees and stuff to get over. You can rifle hunt over one of those as well. You don't necessarily have to bow hunt, down in the woods. But also another thing is to find a water source. That's another good way to really bring a big buck into you, because they can go.
Good luck, especially now.
Yeah, right.
That's really hard since it's been so dry. They can go 4 days without eating, but they can't go but a day without drinking water. One thing that we have done and we found success with, we started doing it this year. It was a crazy idea, and I think we saw it on the Outdoor Channel. One of the shows on there, people had done it, but we took a 25-gallon water tub from Tractor Supply, like you would feed cows and stuff with. We went up there, we dug a hole in the ground.
That's good. You make your own water source, basically.
Exactly. We put it.
That's better than anything else you could do probably this time of year, especially being so dry.
Absolutely.
It's some of those Buckeye plants squashed up in there, and then he'll just fall out before he can run over.
Yes, sir. And so we've got pictures, and we got it right next to our food source right there, and we've got pictures of them drinking the water, and you might ask how you going to get the water up there. Well, we just fill 5-gallon buckets full of water and take them up there. It's work. Digging that hole right now, it's so dry. It's work, and depending on the type of soil you have, it may be harder than in other areas, but hard work, I feel like reaps success. And that's one thing, you just got to put in the hard work week in and week out of getting food sources up there. If you do hunt over feeders and
Ruth's
stuff.
Chris has such nice steak.
You're right, they do. But like I said before, it's all about that experience, just getting out and enjoying the outdoors.
Absolutely, being out there, being in the woods, being with nature, and just kind of getting back to the elements there.
Yes,
sir. Definitely can understand that. So, Tanner, you have a real passion for that, and you and I have talked at length several times about that, and it's good to see someone your age. Not to say that you're too young for this, but no, you've been doing it for a long time, and you got a wealth of knowledge, and we appreciate you coming on tonight.
Yes, sir.
And we appreciate Wesley Parks from McCoy Outdoors. We'll hear more from Wesley when we come back after the break and talk about all the things that McCoy Outdoors has to offer for the avid hunter and for the beginner alike. Wesley said earlier that they had everything in the store, from deer stands to blinds to shotguns, rifles, ammunition. They have in their store. They
Great
have
selection of holsters.
Yeah, holsters as well. And
better than the flea market.
We'll hear more from Wesley and McCoy's Outdoor when we come back after this break. This is Armed Alabama.
This program is a production of Armed Alabama, LLC. The comments and views of the hosts are those of Armed Alabama, LLC, for which it is solely responsible. The view and comments of the callers, guests, and texters do not necessarily represent the views of the sponsors or advertisers of Armed Alabama, LLC, or of Armed Alabama, LLC, Bigler Broadcasting, LLC, FM Talk 1065, or WAVH. No comments from Judge Rusty Johnston should be taken as legal advice, but as educational information. Judge Johnston is not engaged in the practice of law and should not be sought out to answer legal questions off the air. Seek legal advice from a qualified attorney who knows the complete specifics of your legal matter. Bama Carry is Alabama's only no-compromise gun rights group. We are your neighbors. Bama Carry works right here in Alabama to make firearms laws easier to understand and more in tune with the spirit of 1776. Join us, Bama Carry, as we work in Montgomery for you. Dues are just $20 a year. Info online at bamacarry.org. That's bamacarry.org. Longleaf pine is the South's original pine tree, towering over all others. Vast clear-cutting logging operations in the first half of the last century destroyed these beautiful longleaf forests, some well over 100 years old. Their wood sent to New England, New York, and Europe. Many Southerners have no memory of the magnificent longleaf forests that covered the South. The America's Longleaf Restoration Initiative is a concerted effort to restore and conserve longleaf pine forests. The best part is, it's working. For more info, visit americaslongleaf.org.
Step up to the firing line. Armed Alabama is back. Questions, comments, and texts at 343-0106.
I own this establishment. Really for $1,000.
You better clear out of there.
Yes, sir. Just hold it right there. Hold it!
You just shot an unarmed man. Well, he should have armed himself. He's going to decorate his saloon with my friend.
If we had Gene Hackman, that character as our sheriff, we wouldn't have any crime around here. I tell you, he was tough.
He was tough in that movie. All right, we're back. It's Armed Alabama, and in the studio with me tonight, we have Wesley Parks from McCoy Outdoors, and we have Tanner Robinson from Robo Outdoors. Tanner is an avid hunter, and he's been hunting since he was 6 years old, so that's been quite some time. And he has a really good website, so go on and check out robooutdoors.com and check out his videos and stuff. We've got some texts and stuff tonight.
And let me ask Wesley one thing while you're getting them in line. Wesley, I'm kind of kooky because I do way more than I should, but most people don't do anything. Let's say they're shotguns when they buy them. And periodically, let's say the magazine tube spring needs to be changed. Most people don't want to fool with that kind of thing. But y'all do all of that. And what can we do to kind of encourage people? I guess it depends on what kind of shotgun, for instance, they have. But periodically, they need to bring it in for maintenance if they're not doing that kind of thing.
That's right. It's not like a vehicle where you change the oil every 3,000 or 4,000 miles. The biggest enemy that firearms have where we live is the climate we live in. And even a properly ventilated and air-conditioned heated home still has a higher amount of humidity than say out in Arizona or somewhere like that. A loaded shotgun, you said shotgun, a loaded shotgun, if it's fully loaded, then there are some springs, magazine springs, that are being compressed. And even with today's metallurgy, the springs have kind of a finite lifetime to just sit static and stay compressed the whole time. And
40 or 50 years is just a little long.
40 or 50 years, and that's not to say that you have to do it once a year either, but you owe it to yourself, especially if it's for home defense. You owe it to yourself to periodically, every 3 or 4 months, or certainly at least every 6 months, to work the action on the gun, to cycle those rounds through the gun to see if it's properly feeding from the magazine into the chamber. And if you have any hiccups at all, guess what? That's a telltale that you need to address it and probably have a new magazine spring installed.
Yeah. For instance, I replace, I do it all at once. Every magazine spring in every shotgun, and I put in those nice Teflon type followers in there.
Right.
And, that's just something, why not? I mean, it's pretty cheap to do.
That's right. And if you shoot your guns, if you're using your duck gun as also a home defense, and you're scrambling around in a duck blind, whether it's a boat blind or if it's on hard ground, if there's any moisture at all, somehow moisture invades shotguns. It invades the stocks between the recoil pads and the actual stock itself, and I don't know how it gets in the magazine tubes, but it does. And
I replaced a magazine too that was just rusted on the inside. I couldn't believe it.
That's right. And people think that they're doing a service by taking WD-40 or whatever their favorite lubricant is and spritzing it all in there. Well, gravity takes over, and that lubricant's going to run somewhere. It's either going to run down in the stock, or if you're one of those people that puts your gun muzzle down, which not very many people do, and I don't know why you would want to, but if you did, then it seems to always run in the magazine tube. Well, any dust, dirt, corn stalks, whatever, it mixes with that oil, and over time the oil dries out, and then that can impede that follower that you're talking about that's pushing those shells out. It can impede that function. And so you owe it to yourself to check your guns periodically to make sure that they function properly.
Yeah.
Whether you shoot them or not, it's not necessarily it. You can cycle rounds through the gun in a safe manner, preferably outside.
Or get your dummy rounds.
Or use dummy rounds. That's exactly right. So
and they're really cheap. It's something that's cheap and easy to use. Instead of, you can do it right in your home instead of using live rounds.
That's right.
But you can't just not attend to stuff.
No.
It's like a fire extinguisher. You need to check it periodically to make sure it's got the right pressure in there and all.
That's exactly right. That's right. Or a bag of flour.
Yeah, sure. Make sure it doesn't have the weevils in there. They always have weevils in there.
That's right.
Yeah, I have 4 or 5 dummy rounds for a shotgun that I used periodically, especially when I was very active in shooting, going to different classes, including the NRA law enforcement school that I attended, to prep for that, to be able to cycle that weapon effectively and rapidly, to be able to egress to a target and to be able to utilize.
Yeah.
It is, and those dummy rounds help me do that. And I've got very, very good and very, very fast with a pump shotgun with the aforementioned Mossberg 590.
Yeah, the biggest problem with those is people not, I can't remember the term, you're not taking all the way forward.
We call it short shucking.
Short shucking, yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's what I've seen. You want to, have we got anybody that's addressed to us there?
We've got some texts here that we hadn't had really a chance to address. We got a lot of them going on. And one of the texts is, I guess they're watching on Facebook. The text says, a tenor looks like a big, strong guy. What's his bow set up? And I laughed earlier and made a joke that you were using the English longbow. But yeah, briefly, Tanner, give us your bow setup.
Yes, sir. I shoot a PSE Bow Madness at a 70-pound draw weight. It's got about a 31-inch axle length, so it's a shorter bow, but I like that for hunting in blinds. It's gives you a little bit more room. One of the things I wanted to mention, though, was about your draw weight. If you're in the store, or if you're, practicing, you can pull back an 80-pound bow, once or twice. That's awesome. But, when you're in that stand and you got what they call buck fever we mentioned earlier going, you're probably going to be able to pull that 80-pound bow back. So you got to get something that you're comfortable pulling back, 50 to 75 times, shooting while you're practicing, and also one that you're comfortable pulling back, when you're standing when you're in the stand shaking. That's a big key, because a lot of times you hear about some guys, when they have big bucks right there, but they couldn't pull that bow back because they were, too weak feeling because of buck fever. So.
And you made a mention there to be able to shoot that bow, 60 or 75 times, and if you're bow hunting, you need to be accurate. You need to be effective with that bow. Wesley, you used a good term earlier that you owed it to that animal to be able to harvest it in the least painful or most humane way.
Absolutely. That's right.
Good point.
You want to, as I said earlier, you want to dispatch that animal as quickly and efficiently as possible.
And that's just respect.
That's right.
It's just respect.
Right.
It's a good sport. Hunting is a good sport, whether you're bow hunting or using a shotgun or using a rifle. But having utmost respect for the animal and being able to harvest it effectively is very important. And to be able to do that, you have to practice. We espouse that all the time here on the show. Is practice makes perfect. So whether you need to get training to be able to be effective, there's classes out there. I'm sure probably you said, Wesley, that y'all have an upstairs little bow range. I'm sure if somebody was to come in and buy a bow or products or whatever, they could utilize that. And you also stated that within McCoy Outdoors, y'all had everything that an experienced hunter or a novice hunter needed to get started as we go into the season here.
That's right. We have, for the deer hunter, with rifle season having just come in recently, I mean, you can be a youth and for the first rifle, or if you're a grown adult that has never deer hunted before and want to get into it, you can buy a package gun rifle scope combo that's already set up at the factory for as little as right now. In fact, Savage has a Model 11 trophy hunter that with a rebate I think nets down to about $425 after the rebate, and they shoot really, really well. I've personally shot a number of them, sighting them in, and we've had a lot of very positive feedback from customers. And if you're the guy that's already been down that road and wants to buy some type of heirloom quality gun that you can pass on to a child, a son or grandson or daughter, granddaughter, whatever the case may be, we sell some very nice firearms as well.
It's amazing how good the firearms are made now compared to 50 years ago.
It really is. The performance has come down to the price. It used to be that to get a gun that would repeatedly shoot a 1-inch group at 100 yards, you had to buy a nice rifle. Well, now these $429 net price package Savages, they'll shoot a 1-inch group just about all day long. I mean, and that's
it's a CNC machine.
They are. They really are. But it blows my mind how accurate rifles are now.
Yeah, and CNC is, to make them accurate, is how good the programmer is.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
it always comes down to that.
It's not so much the machinist anymore; it's just the programmer. But so and that makes hunting accessible for almost anyone, or any person, or woman, or child, as whatever.
That's right. That's right.
And that's good, right?
So with that combo, Wesley, is it 308, 270, 243? What is the usual round that people are buying rifles to shoot?
All the above, what you just mentioned, 243, 308. We sell and promote 7mm 08 Remington cartridges because they perform just about like a 308 without the recoil. So whether it be a youth or a lady or somebody that has some kind of physical impairment that they can't stand much recoil, the 708 is just a very pleasant cartridge to shoot in most setups. But then if you want a 270 or 30-06, it's also available in that same rifle. So they make it in two different action lengths.
Yeah.
And what's the grain weight usually on that 7mm?
For youth, we sell 120 grain more than we do 140
Probably need to finish
grain.
that, but let's remember what.
Sure.
Step up to the firing line. Armed Alabama is back. Questions, comments, and text at 343-0106.
You smell that? Ain't fun, son. Nothing else in the world smells like that. I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Me too.
All right.
Smells like victory.
Welcome back to Armed Alabama. I have in the studio with me Tanner Robinson, and we have Wesley Parks from McCoy Outdoors. And they've been here providing hunting tips and all kind of different information regarding bow hunting, shotgun hunting, and rifle hunting. Tanner Robinson is a young avid hunter, and you can go and check him out at Robo Outdoors. He's got lots of videos there of his different hunts and lots of information that he's given out. Judge, we have a couple of texts I haven't been able to get to, but one of the texts is someone with a felony. What are the options for hunting?
Well, your problem's going to be, and I'm not sure what the answer to it is. Obviously, you can't carry a traditional firearm. You could hunt with the bow and arrow. The question is, can you get a hunting license? And I'm not sure about that. And the next couple of minutes, I'll be checking that out.
It's a good question.
We'll see.
And could they just primitive hunt with cap and ball?
I mean, well, and I know they
traditions
can,
type rifle,
as long as it's not readily able to be used as
can be convertible.
Right, readily convertible. If it is truly,
that's correct.
But some of them apparently are not truly. But The question is, do you know, Wesley, can you get a actually hunting license if you're a convicted felon? I mean, that's the key.
That is my understanding that yes, you can.
Yeah. Well, then it's then you go primitive.
Yeah, and maybe a good resource, Judge, with this would be the Code of Alabama, Title 9, Chapter 11, where it deals with conservation, natural resources, and it deals with all the hunting and everything.
We'll give it a try.
There. So another good resource for hunters is OutdoorAlabama.com, and that is the actual official website of Alabama Department of Conservation and Natural Resources. So you can use that website, Outdoor Alabama, as a good resource to get all your information. You can even go on there and buy your license online.
And you know what?
So,
I bought it on my phone one time.
Yeah, absolutely. I did too.
Downloaded it.
Yeah.
All that.
It's very effective and very convenient.
Adam, let me add a little something. That this is a little bit off subject, but when you said Outdoor Alabama, it reminded me, and I think it's important to remind everybody out there that the state of Alabama this year is requiring hunters to not only maintain a kill log for deer and for turkeys, but also that you have to report your kill. You can either call it into Montgomery, which is really, really tough, or you can get their app and put it on your smartphone. And I did it actually this past weekend, and it's fairly easy to do. But you have, I think it's 48 hours to report your harvest to Montgomery, either in the form of a phone call or on the app.
But that's a good point. Thank you, Wesley, for bringing
real
that up.
big brother about that.
There's very much, but hey,
they just want
it's the law right now.
Well,
it's
they
the
want
law
to
right
track
now.
the game. So
yeah, that's all they're trying to do.
They do that in Florida.
They
No,
sure
sir,
know
they
who
don't.
owns the
Not
guns, though, don't they?
yeah, we have a caller. We'll go to our caller here, LD, calling from Mobile. What you got tonight?
Gentlemen, a little levity here.
We need it.
What y'all play some really great clips from war movies.
Those are all my selection. I want you to know.
Yeah, I've seen every one of them 100 times. What, in your opinion, is the all-time greatest war movie? And I'll hang up and listen. And happy Thanksgiving.
Oh boy,
That's a different question.
I like that.
One way out of left field there.
Well, because he's one of my favorites. I like the movie MacArthur that they made about 25 years ago.
What about Stripes?
Nah, I don't put it in there.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess maybe we'll probably get a different answer from different people, but maybe for me, the Mel Gibson film, We Were Soldiers.
I would
was really,
say
That's a good one.
yeah.
Really good.
There were two of these made. It was Gods and Generals. I would say that one is the one that had not the one with Martin Sheen, the other one, the one with Robert Duvall that played Robert E. Lee.
I guess I didn't see that one.
It was a mini series, but it would classify as a movie.
Yeah, you talking about Robert Duvall? We just played a clip earlier from
right,
Apocalypse
right.
Now.
He
That
was
a
the
really
best.
good movie.
Robert E. Lee is excellent. You can find the director's cut on I guess Amazon.
Yeah, and another movie.
I probably watched it 25 times.
Another movie.
Unfortunately,
with,
the same result keeps happening.
Another Mel Gibson movie. We talked about that earlier. We Were Soldiers. His new one that he has out right now is Hacksaw Ridge. I plan to go. I should have already seen it, but I plan to go see it hopefully this weekend sometime. So I'm looking forward to that. Wesley, you want to chime in on that? Favorite war movie? Best war movie?
I still like Stripes.
Well, I do too.
Green Berets, I thought, was always a great movie.
Oh, yeah,
but I was a John Wayne
Good
fan.
patriotic
I'm
movie
a John
instead
Wayne
of
fan.
the MASH type variety.
Right,
of movies,
yeah.
which
right.
was, hippie oriented.
Yeah. Charlie said The Sands of Iwo Jima, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
John Wayne movie.
I would
Tanner?
say Saving Private Ryan. That's one of my favorite ones.
Oh, yeah,
It's a little
yeah.
newer one,
Yeah,
but I think
yeah.
it good set of actors in it.
Well, cool. Well, we're having a good conversation. That was a good question, kind of out of left field, but yeah, that was great. So I have, and we're here with me in the studio is Tanner Robinson. He has, he's an avid hunter. He has his own website. You can go to robooutdoors.com and you can check out all his videos of his different hunts. Lots of good information there. We have also with us from McCoy Outdoors, our prime sponsor, we have Wesley Parks. And speaking of all our sponsors. Let me go ahead and give a shout out to all our sponsors and advertisers, and that's Justin Foster Chiropractic of Tillman's Corner, David Grayson at Grayson Heating and Air, McCoy Outdoors, of course, and the law office of Matt Green, also David Parnell of Palmer's Toyota. And we're thankful for each of these advertisers and sponsors. If you would like to advertise your business on Armed Alabama, please contact us, Adam at armedalabama.com, or the judge at armedalabama.com. Earlier, when we were at the break, we had a really good conversation about
By the way,
children.
the movie Lincoln is number 16. It is full of Spielberg, full of so many errors in there, and it's, of course, about a war criminal. I'm amazed. Sensei Iwo is listed as 10. This is by IMDb.
Yeah, Internet Movie Database.
Yeah, there you go.
The Longest Day was a good one.
Oh, yeah.
Bridge over the River Kwai.
That was a good one, too. Yeah, with Sir Alec Guinness.
Reminds us of the true nature of the Japanese during World War II.
All right, so got a caller real quick. Tommy from Baldwin County. What you got, Tommy?
Hey, just as a response to the guy that called in with the felony, I've done some research trying to help my friend. He's actually applying to have his gun rights reinstated. He's been pardoned for a felony he has, and the research that I've done is if it's a non-violent crime that resulted in a felony, a lot of times that, you know, you can apply for your gun rights to be reinstated, and they'll warrant that. And also, it said that if it's a violent crime, it's a lot harder. It's not impossible, but it is a lot harder. So that might be something your caller could look into.
All right. Thank you, Tommy. Thank you for that information. Wesley, we was talking earlier about everything that McCoy has for the hunter, the avid hunter, and the novice. Can you elaborate a little bit more on what you got to prepare the hunter for this deer season?
Well, because it's so dry, one of the things I wanted to mention that's a little bit off base from your question, but because it's been so dry, I don't know that there's anybody in the state that has a green field that actually has grass in it that they can go sit on. And as inconvenient as that is for most of our deer hunters, I think that it's in the long run going to be a good thing because it kind of gets you back to the basics of hunting. And my only advice is to focus on game trails, to focus on a water source if there is a water source, and look for the mass generating trees, the acorn crops, and if you can find a water source with a trail with acorns, I think that's as good as being on any green field. And along with that, the comment that I want to make is that I think scent elimination and scent control is vitally important this season.
And what kind of products do y'all carry that with?
Well, you've got a wash that you wash your clothes with.
We have all that. We have the washes, we have the soaps, we have the shampoos, and then we have the cover scents. We have the scent eliminators. We have all that, and I personally think it's too early, and it's probably not very effective to be using an attractant scent right now, like a doe pea or anything like that. But deer are curious animals, and I think that as long as it's not offensive to them and doesn't alarm them, I think you might fool one with a little bit of doe pea possibly. But
Yes, sir.
I don't use it until the rut.
Yes, sir. And one point I'd also like to make, when you are setting your stand-up, and for whether it's for early season bow hunting, late season rut, regardless, wind should be your number one friend. You always want to set your stand-up downwind.
Right.
If you can find where those deer are traveling, either into the water source, into the food plot, wherever, you want to set up multiple stands for multiple wind directions.
Right.
That should be your first and foremost thought when setting up a stand.
Yeah, and I'll give a little pitch here. We sell a lock-on stand, a hang-on stand by Millennium, and they use a receiver that you can attach to a tree, and they have a ratchet strap receiver, and they have a chain receiver, and you can put multiple receivers in one area, and then just carry the actual platform with you, and depending on the wind direction, you can just climb up your stick or your ladder, whatever you have, and it takes literally about 10 seconds to attach that stand to those receivers, and that's really a neat thing. And instead of buying 4 or 5 $250 stands. You buy one, and then you buy these $25 receivers, and it just gives you a lot more flexibility and versatility.
Pretty clever.
So it is, and we sell quite a few of those.
And watch it with a fire. You know, there are a lot of ATVs that the mufflers will generate heat. You got some dry grass, so, you know, watch.
There's a statewide burn order in Alabama right now, and as nice and chilly as it was this weekend, as much as I wanted to set a fire in the fireplace, I was scared to death to do that. So
yeah, because of the embers.
I carry a pretty big fire extinguisher in my, well, I guess UTV, but, you know, I carry one just in case. Not a bad idea for anybody.
All right, we'll have more for your hunting needs and hunting information from McCoy Outdoors, Wesley Parks, and also from avid hunter Tanner Robinson after this break. This is Armed Alabama.
Step up to the firing line. Armed Alabama is back. Questions, comments, and texts at 343-0106.
I mean to kill you in 1 minute, Ned, or see you hanged in Fort Smith at Judge Parker's convenience. Which'll it be?
I call that bold talk for a one-eyed fat man.
Oh, you cut out the best part.
Yeah.
Oh, my
I think I gave it to him cut out because I didn't want a bad word to go over the air.
I think we could probably say that on the air.
We probably could. I don't know. I think I've already said it earlier. But that was regarding Alexander Hamilton, who deserves it.
Yeah, Charlie said, well, if John Wayne said it, it's got to be okay.
Yeah, okay. I'll give you another one.
Is that the fill your hands quote?
Yeah. Fill your hands, you son of a biscuit.
That's right.
I thought he was saying the other word. That's just where I am.
All right, we're back. And we're here talking about hunting season and different hunting tips with Wesley Parks of McCoy Outdoors and Tanner Robinson. And Tanner is an avid young hunter, and he has a website, robooutdoors.com. So go on there and check him out. Be sure to check out McCoy Outdoors website and their Facebook page. Wesley, you want to give that to us real quick?
Oh, you put me on the spot.
Yeah, that's why I know it's McCoy Outdoors.
McCoyOutdoorCo.com.
Yep.
Yes.
And I'm embarrassed. I don't know the Facebook page.
I'll get it right now.
I'm not a Facebooker myself, so you caught me.
I'll get it.
Well, all you got to do is just go on Facebook and search McCoy Outdoors.
It is McCoy Outdoor Company.
There you go.
And we also have an Instagram page. I do know that.
And you know, I don't even know what those are, but I know they're hot.
I barely do, but I did know that.
Well, McCoy Outdoors is very active on social media. So we were talking earlier in one of the breaks, I can't remember, and it was a good conversation about kids and how to get children involved and young people involved in hunting because, Wesley, you stated that the hunters are dwindling in the state of Alabama.
In this country. I think Alabama's actually,
yes.
Technically, I think Alabama's kind of holding their own, but countrywide, hunting is on the decline. And it's... I keep hearing reports that there's a big threat that we're about to skip an entire generation with the millennials.
Part of it is these, I don't offend anybody, feminists that don't want their, sons out there in the dangerous woods with guns.
Right.
That's where it's coming from. And then the men won't stand up to them, and the emasculated males that won't stand up to them. So that's the problem.
Or you have fractured families where the court system or the previous loved one or whatever is not allowing visitation, or they're not having the time with the father to spend that time outdoors, which is very important. And Tanner, you stated earlier that you've been hunting since you were 6 years old. So what's some of the things that to get a young person or a youth involved in hunting? What's some of the things that you suggest or recommend?
Well, just to begin, I'm very thankful that my grandfather was, introduced me and my brother and my cousins, to hunting and everything. And, that's one thing that's obviously a huge part of my life, and just owe that all to him. But, remembering back from when I was a kid, I can remember, we would go hunting, we'd sit with my grandpa, and, when we'd get down after hunting, he would take us around and show us, you know,
that was 2/3 of it, wasn't it?
Yeah, just about. Yes, sir. That and cooking breakfast. But but you know, just showing us, you know, general, you know, knowledge about hunting. You know, the difference between, you know, the buck and the doe tracks. You know, and showing us, you know, like the scrapes and the rubs and how to identify that type of stuff and what that stuff meant with like the rut coming and everything. And yeah, and that's when one thing, you know, I know people that, you know, they were, you know, young and 5 or 6, whatever, they got through a 12-gauge shotgun and they shot it, and, you know, they've been scared.
Everybody laughed when it knocked them down.
Right, but, you know, but it scared them away from guns. And so I think, you know, starting small, you know, the first, you know, deer I shot at was with a 410 shotgun, you know, and I missed it, hit it, didn't kill it, you know, whatever happened. But, you know, starting small, you know, and working your way up, I feel is an important key to getting kids interested in hunting and also keeping them interested.
Right, and I got a similar story. My family being from East Tennessee, from the mountains there, and great-grandfather and grandfather taking me around and seeing all the bear tracks in the bank and the deer tracks, and he was, my great-grandfather was such a wealth of knowledge on that regard, and that was quality time that I wouldn't take $1 million for, is to have that and have that knowledge that he shared. Wesley, what about you? What do you think would be a good thing to do to get young people and youth involved in hunting?
Getting them off the video games and into hunting.
there are a lot of different outlets. The Mobile County Wildlife, that they have, it may sound silly, but they have the Wood Duck Box project every year, and that's a great introduction to youth and to non-hunters in general. Alabama Wildlife Federation has a lot of different activities set up. They have the new facility that they've just completed, I think, in the last couple of years, that talks about hunting heritage and just, you know, getting outside, and whether you want to kill something or just go shoot a gun, to me, is a lot better than standing on the corner waiting for the bus to come by.
Well, you know, you learn about nature, you learn about the different kind of trees and plants, and get you off the video.
That's right. National Wild Turkey Federation, you know, they have their Jake's program, and there's plenty of opportunity. Unfortunately, in our current culture, it's not politically correct in a lot of different places, and that's unfortunate, because I do think that one of the greatest resources we have is the outdoors.
Right.
Absolutely. Real quickly, we're going to have some calls here. We're going to take Shane's calling in from Mobile. Real quick, what you got, Shane?
Yes, what is our legal right in the state of Alabama to carry a pistol in your vehicle on company property? In other words, once you go into your office or your workplace, do you have the legal right to leave that pistol in your vehicle on company property?
And this is in Alabama, correct?
Correct. Yes, sir, in Alabama.
If you have either, well, I'll leave out the hunting part because you said pistol, but you could hunt with, as long as you have a pistol permit and that pistol is hidden or out of view. Well, I'd say hidden, but out of view, and your car is locked, it is legal to have it on company property. But let me tell you this, don't go in and tell everybody, you know, I got a .357 Magnum in the car, because if you're somebody that, you know, some people don't like, they'll figure out a way to fire you, and you'll never know it's related to that gun in your car.
Correct. Yes, I just I thought that was the law. I just wanted to hear you say it, because there's a lot of people out there under the misconception that they cannot legally bring a gun on on the company property in their vehicle if they keep it locked.
Go to our Facebook page and I have a little deal about how to look up Alabama law. It's a little video, and I'm getting ready to do another one, a better one, but it'll show you how to look it up yourself.
All right, thank you, Shane. Appreciate it. Next caller, real quick, is Danny is calling from Mobile. What you got, Danny?
Yes, sir, Your Honor. One of the battles and war movies that wasn't mentioned, one of my favorites, is Midway. It came out in the late 70s.
There you go.
It was a 3-hour movie.
Great movie.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely right, Danny. Thank you for the call. Thank you for the suggestion. That was a really
Hard to
good
remember
movie.
all those. Yeah, it's a good one.
Judge, answer me this on the previous caller about the company property. The state docks are the exception to that. Is that not correct?
It doesn't say that, but it could be. It doesn't lay it out in the code.
I think the state docks are an exception.
Yeah, the Code of Alabama is a good resource. You can go online and you can Google that.
I'll tell you later something interesting.
All right, we're running up to the end of the show here. I just want to give a shout out to McCoy Outdoors. Want to thank them for their continued sponsorship of Alabama. I want to thank you, Wesley, for coming in and talking with us and providing information.
Y'all going to be open Friday, Black Friday, as they call it?
We are open on Friday.
Okay.
Awesome. So definitely go and do your Christmas shopping there or do your hunting shopping right now. Want to thank Tanner Robinson for coming in here. Tanner is a young, avid hunter, and you can check him out on his website, and that is robooutdoors.com.
And he's offered to take anybody hunting that wants to go.
You can go on and check him out. Check out his videos. He's got a wealth of information there, and we want to thank him for coming and spending this 2 hours with us. And thank you, Wesley, for sitting in with us for 2 hours. And he goes by really fast.
And thank you, Charlie.
Yes, sir.
Everybody's glad to know you're still with us.
And check us out on Facebook page. You can check us out on Armed Alabama Radio, FM Talk 106.5. Until next week, this is Armed Alabama.